Good. As usual, a London Saturday with a lot of clouds. It may rain anytime, and it's summer. So
Of
yes, that's
course,
how it is.
yes, yes. We've all seen it in the cricket matches where half of the days are
Absolutely,
washed away, so you're getting a
absolutely.
real
And
feel of it.
oh, for sure. I think it's this summer has been extra special with
hmm
being the wettest summer so far. So yes,
Oh God. Anyway, thanks for joining. So I'm glad that we are doing this. So just a quick introduction to whoever is watching this. I'm Aniket. Both me and Ashwath are from Belgaum in Karnataka, back in India, and we both are great movie fans. We've been crazy about movies and more specifically Bollywood and more specifically trashy movies.
yes. And
We
we can
have
say we've grown up with them with the
yes.
level of trash growing. We've grown up looking at the amount of trash piling up.
Exactly. And we didn't have an option. We grew up in the 90s.
Yes,
So that
yes.
was the
We
quality
blame
of
it on the
movies
90s.
that, yes, of course.
We
While there
blame it
were
on the
some,
90s movies,
yes.
90s lyrics, and 90s music.
Oh
We
my
blame it on
God.
all of them.
Yes, go Kumar Sanu. So, yes, so we are those people. But our love for movie has only grown with us. Thankfully, we have diversified. We are going into regional cinema and also international movies now, thankfully. Uh, and I'm glad that we are doing this. We are recording something which will be there for the generations. I don't know who's going to watch it except us, but let's just hope
By the
that.
way, my family decided not to watch it. So, yes, for the fact, I have already lost one audience at home.
Absolutely. So I think it's just for a personal record for just the two of us.
Yes, yes.
But I'm very excited that we are doing this. Continuing with our conversation, so why are we recording this, Ashwath? What do you think? What did you think of when we spoke about doing this podcast?
Right. I think, uh, first of all, people around me are already bored with the amount of Bollywood trivias and stories and knowledge that I keep sharing. So their fair advice to me was, I think you need to start telling this to more people because you bored us enough. So can you just go and bore others around? Because there is only limited amount of, I can say, disk space that they have to absorb as important as Bollywood. So I
Right,
said, okay, why not try speaking about it to someone who loves as much as me? So
right.
here we are speaking
hmm
about Bollywood and creating this I can say document for us.
Exactly. This is what it is. It's a document for us. And for me, it was more like, I have a loyal fan base of 77 people, out of which 75 are friends and family on Instagram.
Wow, wow, you at least gone to double count. I'm so proud of that.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the family helped pitch in. It's like the angel investors in terms of followers. So,
Okay, okay. No, very soon
but
that will convert into nepotism. So beware. Like
yes, of
they may
course,
just
of
say,
course.
"Oh, they're encouraging their own person." Like,
Yes, we should have created the Bollywood bingo, so nepotism is ticked off. But
okay,
yeah, so I thought, it's a good opportunity for me to even connect with friends and discuss something that we love, which is movies. So as I said, I'm very happy that we're doing it. Why do you think we chose angry young men as our topic today?
I think from at least from what I've seen, I think three reasons that come to my mind. One is the whole Salim Javed always remained mystery to me, like growing up on
Yeah.
Bollywood. And
hmm
for a very long time, I didn't know that Javed Akhtar was the Javed in Salim Javed,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
second, I didn't know that Salim Khan was Salman Khan's father. So I think this was the
Absolutely.
first
Bingo.
layer of mystery to be peeled out for me to say, guys, here are the people. He writes, "Ek ladki ko dekha to aisa laga," and he is someone whom I don't know, like Salim Khan.
hmm
Like and then suddenly I get to know his Salman Khan's father. So
Right.
so for me, it's always been a mystery. I think that's one. So that's why they've already always remained mysterious as what they have done, what they have not. And second is when I got into seeing what work they have done, I think they're just referenced almost in every movie that we watch, right? There's like hardly a movie that goes by where you don't have a Salim Javed reference. For example, you you ask, like, I remember one of the movies which I loved was Khaki, which was
hmm
like Rajkumar Doshi movie, and the reference which Rajkumar Santoshi gave in creating the famous villainous character of Ajay Devgan was, I wanted to make a villain as scary as Gabbar Singh. So his
hmm
reference was no other villain but like, okay, Gabbar Singh. And
Absolutely.
then next, it's just grown. I think even if you take a movie like Slumdog Millionaire, right? And you, when Danny Boyle was asked how was it shooting in India, he came back and said, I watched all Salim Javed movies, and that's why there are two characters in my movie who are Salim and Javed. And
That
there's
is
also a
true.
line in the movie which says Salim Javed ke saath kaam karta hai,
Very
right? Like
nice. Yeah,
Jamal's brother is Salim and Mahesh Manjrekar is Javed. So there's also a line in the movie which says Salim Javed ke saath kaam karta hai. So for me, it was like, okay, maybe we've not really understood how great their work was or how amazing their work was. That is just referenced everywhere. So this is why I think I when the promo was released of Angry Young Men, I was like, wow, like this is a movie where we'll get to know many layers.
absolutely. Yeah, no wonder even I was excited. For me, and I totally agree with you because Salim Javed had already broken up their partnership by the time we were even born. So,
One,
I think in the early or mid 80s is when they decided to stop working together, and we were born in the late 80s. So, by the time we were born, they were done. But Javed Akhtar was still a force to reckon with, in all the
right.
I remember in the Filmfare Awards, the best lyrics always went to Javed
Javed.
Akhtar.
I think there
Yeah,
was a competition at some point, like it was Anand Bakshi or Javed Akhtar. And
right.
when Anand Bakshi ji passed away, it was like, okay, Javed Akhtar,
Javed
like
Akhtar.
just give it to him.
But we only listened to Samir's lyrics. That is a
Samir
different
lyrics,
story.
yes.
So yeah, so Javed Akhtar was a household name. I totally agree. It was the same. I was like, oh, Salim Javed's Javed is Javed Akhtar, and had no clue Salim Khan was Salman Khan's dad, and Salman Khan was, for a long time my favorite hero. So it was quite a revelation. All of those things I agree. But for me, I think the introduction to Angry Young Man or Amitabh Bachchan or Salim Javed came from my dad. He
Hmm.
made sure he was a big fan of all these movies, and he made it a point that we watched it. And to his good luck, I think we liked it and we loved it. So he bought in the cassettes for the VCRs and made us watch it. This is before the cable TV came into being, and then of course once the Z cinemas and the Set Maxes
Set
took over,
Maxes.
yes,
Yes.
and they started having these movies on prime time, we made it a point to watch it as much as possible. So
Yes.
yeah, it's a mix of that enigma that was created of Salim Javed by the time we were born, and there was this duo called Salim Javed, and we were like, oh, who are they? Where are they? Why are they not doing it anymore? And
Right.
then a combination of that with what my dad inculcated in me as
Yes.
culture, Bollywood culture.
Yes.
So yeah, I was very excited as well when the trailer came out, and I'm glad that I'm also glad that they are getting into
Three big production
documentary.
houses. Yeah, I mean
Yes,
three big okay, you can still say three formidable production houses coming together with this was like
right.
wow. Looks like they're
Right.
going all in to tell the story.
Exactly. And still hashtag nepotism. It's all within the
Yes. Yes.
family, but I'm
Yes.
not complaining. I mean, at some point, they are all credible people who have done great
Yes.
work and have
Yes.
contributed
Absolutely.
and have survived, and have, stood the test of time. So I think, it was great that they had this done.
Yeah.
All
Absolutely.
right.
No, no, I think yes.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, let's go into the review. So I wanted to, talk to you. I think we've spoken a little bit about the excitement and why are we doing this with Angry Young Men. But after watching it, after watching the three-part series, and as we all know, it's the title Angry Young Men came from Angry Young Man, which was what Amitabh Bachchan was known for, or the
Christian
character,
Daz.
yes, christened as by Salim Javed, who was Salim Khan and Javed Akhtar, who were this writing duo who wrote a lot of great scripts and movies back in the 70s and 80s. And they gave blockbuster movies, as Zoya Akhtar said, 22 out of 24
20,
were
20,
great
yeah.
movies.
Yeah,
Uh,
when I heard that start, I was like,
yes,
wow, okay.
yeah,
Then I actually went back to Wikipedia to see was it. And
yes,
yes, it's true. It's
true.
they were
Yeah.
there. All their
I
movies had big names.
Yeah, I think I've heard 20 out of 24 and 22 out of 24, but whatever it is, that's a great strike rate. And suddenly they vanished. So, and it was always they've given a lot of interviews. There have been a lot of comments and a lot of outside noise. But I think, and then it was forgotten for about 20, 30 years, and they have rekindled it, I think, as a love. And just like we are doing it to document for
Right,
ourselves,
right.
they are doing it
Yes.
to document for themselves. So
Yes.
but it's there for the wider world. So that is the synopsis and the gist of Angry Young Men. So having watched it, what were your initial expectations? What were you looking for? And then after watching it, what did you like? What did you not like? And what else could have been, done as a part of that series?
I think my expectations were just to know more, as I said, right? Salim Javed were for me, or to some extent, even they continue to be a mystery now. Like, how could they write such stories and such screenplays, such dialogues which remain iconic like for over 50 years? And so my expectation was to more to understand what really went into this, into their partnership, to think what went into their thinking when they say designed a character like Vijay in Diwar, right? And when they wrote lines like "जाओ signature ले उस आदमी से signature लेके आओ जिसने मेरे हाथ पे लिख दिया," and then Nirupa Roy's response to him is like tenfold strength to it. So for me, what really liked about the series is that it chronicled well. It start off with where they started, because for me, honestly, did a when I got to know that his Javed Akhtar, his Salim Javed, I also got to know that he was Janisar Akhtar's son. So in my
Hmm.
view, it was always okay. His father was a great poet, so maybe his struggle wasn't that big enough because his father was a revered poet. He would have like he may not have struggled that much. But when I really went through the stories of, and I didn't know Salim Khan had acted in movies. I knew he was a
Yeah.
struggling actor. I didn't know he worked opposite to Farah Khan's mother. So I think
Yeah.
so
Wow.
for me, the way they chronicled their journeys from being no one to being ghost writers to being like writers, scribbling their names on the poster of Zanjeer,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then showing why they split. I think I loved this arc across, and
Hmm.
not really making it a big, like a 7 or 8 part series, like three very
Yeah.
compact, like how they grew, they kind of peaked, and then what came. So that worked for me. And
Hmm.
second, I think somewhere it was also unfiltered. I think that's what I liked, because when you typically look at documentaries, they try to speak about one aspect of their work, which is why they were good. And I think
Hmm.
though a lot of people spoke about why they were good, what also helped is people also gave an inputs as where they were kind of going wrong or where they were putting the wrong steps. And Javed Akhtar puts out very well. He says that, to be honest, we did not know how we managed our success, or we were not grateful enough, or we were not good enough for our success. In a sense, good in a sense, we were not good-willed when success came to us, and that's why when failure started coming in, we were hammered down. And I think I like this part because knowing like people who are in their 70s and 80s, them coming and accepting something on screen, I think that for me really worked in them telling them their struggling days they would split. And I think yes, I was happy that they touched upon even these aspects. So that really worked for me. What really worked for you in the series?
Thank you for that. Yeah, I totally agree with a lot of things that you said, and those were some of the pointers that I had as well. For me, what work was, as you said, it was short. They didn't take it to like extreme levels of 10-part series or 8-part series. They kept it short with three. Each of them had a distinct theme to it. The first one was all about their struggle and how they came to being Salim Javed. The second one
And
was
even it
their
was titled that way, मैं आज भी फेंके हुए पैसे नहीं लेता, right? So
exactly. Yes, yeah, they were very creative with that. And the second one was all about how they achieved the fame that they did and the arrogance and alluded to some of the breakup which was eventually covered in part three. And the second part of part three is what I like the most. It opened a discussion on writing back in the day, post Salim Javed, and even in today's world, right? Where They took a whole bunch of people who are upcoming writers or existing writers, established writers, and they asked them for their opinion. And they also spoke to the mega stars and asked them for their opinion on why writers are not known. And everyone had their own opinion, and it was a healthy discussion that came about, and I think it was ended on a good note, which was primarily the problem that Salim Javed had with the industry, where writers were not appreciated and they were not given credit. So they ended it on that note, making us as the viewers ponder about what should be the state of writers and how should they be credited and how can they be encouraged to write many more beautiful stories that we as audiences like. So I really like that.
Mm. I think you called that right. I think even like having folks like Anjum Rajbali, I think he also teaches across in universities for
Hmm.
screenwriting, and I think he also mentioned these points because it was good that not all of them were praising them, right? Like he
Right.
also called about like because I like that part where he called out to say why women characters were strong enough, but they were insignificant. I think that
Yes.
that they called out really well. Like Rima and Zoya spoke about why they were like strong women characters, but
Yeah.
Anjun Rajavali came and said they were good, but they were very inconsequential to their stories,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Like in all their movies, I think the
Hmm.
only consequential character, women consequential character, what I remember was I think Nirupa Roy in Diwar,
That's true. Yeah.
right? Like it
Yeah.
revolved around her.
Yes.
Otherwise, in most of the movies, I think, and they did that well. I like
Yeah.
that part.
Yes. And to be fair, I also agree with Zoya Akhtar's comment on women having their own character arc and they are having a professional life besides
Yes,
just being song and dance. So, for example, in Zanjeer, Jaya Bachchan was actually working, whatever that work was. She was
yes,
doing the Chakuchuri thing.
yes,
In Diwar, as this pointed out, Zeenat Aman was actually uh, you know, uh, working as a sex worker, but that's
yes,
she was not apologetic about it. She was, and neither did they show any awkward sequences of showing sympathy. They
the,
just showed it as a matter of fact. That's a profession. There is
yes,
Vijay is in love with her, and they had their conversations. Even in Dawn, Zeenat Aman had a pretty good
yes,
role. It was a strong character, but again, you
yes,
could do away with it, and still the movie would have worked. So,
yes,
all of them, they had some, and given the context or given the state of affairs in the 70s, 60s,
yes.
where women were just at home singing songs and getting dolled up for no reason, I think this was still a progress.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
from today's lens, if we look at it, then definitely still inconsequential. So
Yes,
I
yeah.
like that there was some, I would say, very mild criticism. I wouldn't say it was too much, but it's still for Bollywood standards to criticize your own parents in
Yes.
any form was refreshing to see.
Yes, I think I agree with that. I think they brought in that criticism part well to blend it slowly to say, yeah, these were some of the things that were through seen through all their movies.
Right. Any downsides or anything that you expected to see in the series that you failed to see, or you were like, damn, they should
Yes,
have covered something
yes,
else?
yes. I think I wanted to see a more detailed conversation with both of them
Hmm.
and explaining about their process itself, right?
Hmm.
Because what I've known and what I've seen across interviews is Salim Javed when they wrote a story, screenplay, and dialogue, they did all these three, and they didn't just stop at these. They were also involved in having their say in casting while the movie was shooting, improvising over scenes. So I really wanted to know more about okay, take one movie and shows like what really went into it,
Right.
into that process. When you
Hmm.
say like again more of a trivia, but all their characters, rebel characters in their movies was Vijay,
Yeah.
okay, and Vijay all more or less ended up losing,
Hmm.
right? Though his name was Vijay, ended up losing. And the other mild character was always Ravi. Okay, and he ended
Right.
up being the good boy. So I just wanted to understand what was their process because maybe there is some process why they even named these characters,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah.
Amitabh Bachchan was Vijay throughout in all the angry young man roles, and
Yeah.
Shashi Kapoor or the other hero with Amitabh Bachchan was always Ravi.
Ravi.
So I
Yeah.
really wanted to understand, okay, what went into naming these characters and process about what was improvised, what was their process, because I know that they stayed over the shooting of Sholay for a very long time to see how the shooting went and give their inputs to Ramesh Sippy. So I really missed that. So
Hmm.
for me, it was like have giving screen time to some actor, like say for example, they would have reduced the screen time to some actors like Yash and others who I found was and that is the second
That is true.
side to it. I think they included too many people to speak about them, so I didn't like that. They should have probably given more time to both of them, like got them into a conversation with
Hmm.
with with someone who could really ask them these questions, like someone like Amitabh Bachchan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Having a conversation with Salim and Javed and telling them, guys, tell me how you etched this character out, right? For
Yeah.
me, that part would have given me more satisfaction. But
Hmm.
again, it's like a greedy mind. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. No, I think that was one of the points that I had too in the downsides, that there were just too many interviewees, right? Like, why was Yash there? Why was Abhishek Bachchan and his sister Shweta Bachchan were there? Why were they interviewed? And Sharat Saxena actually gave a very good point of view about the 70s environment and how the angry young man was so
Yes.
relevant. But again, just too many interviewees. I think they could have consolidated it to few prominent ones. And I really was gutted that Amitabh Bachchan was given like hardly 5 minutes, I think,
Yes.
in
I
the
mean,
entire thing. That was shocking to me. First of all, I was almost angry at the trailer because there was no Amitabh Bachchan except for the last 10 seconds, maybe. And I'm like, okay, fine, they are kept it like a finale. But I was kind of disappointed when I saw the series and Amitabh Bachchan was given such little interview and screen time. And he's a great interviewer, by the way. I watched a Kalki
yes.
interview and where he sat with everyone and he drove the conversation, which was fairly
Yes.
awkward. So he's great at that. And that would have been lovely. But even as just interviewing him more, getting him more pointed questions about each movie, I would have really loved that.
Yeah.
The other part that I was expecting was more details on their breakup itself, right? Because that
Yeah.
was what everyone that is how they appealed to everyone to watch this. And they gave very minimal details. Again, this is the problem with the home production. They wanted to be, nice to both of
Hollywood.
them. And I think they wanted to not, dig up old graves. So they were trying to balance that act, and Javed Akhtar took it upon himself to give some reasoning about, their writing getting stale. While I saw some other interviews where Salim Khan had said that Javed Akhtar wanted to get into lyrics, and he was just not interested in it. But it would have been awkward for Javed Akhtar to not write Salim Javed in lyrics, while Salim Khan did not want his name attached to something where he did not contribute. So there were a lot of things that were in other interviews which were said in the past, and here they just brushed it off and put it under the carpet. So I would have loved a little more insight into what happened and what went into it. The third thing that I was looking forward to were accomplishments or work after the split up, because Javed Akhtar is such a huge name by himself now. As we
Yes.
spoke, we did not even know he was the Javed of Salim Javed, and he's achieved so much. And he spoke a little bit about how he felt nervous and anxious when he started working by himself. But a little bit more, I would have loved to just touch upon their own creative process. What did they do after they split up? But again, as you said, it's a greedy mind. It will never be
Yes.
satisfied with whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and the last
And I
thing,
think even on
mhm,
the split up, right? I think just to touch upon it, even on the
yeah.
split up, I'm I I kind of bought and did not buy into Javed Akhtar's version where he said, because the last movie I think gave us India's first superhero, right? Like Mr. India gave us India's first superhero. That was their
Right.
last film, and
Hmm.
so I'm not too sure where he felt that it was going. I think it's just that they needed to take a break of 3 to 4 years and say, guys, okay, let's come back, or let's come back and work on a script. But
Hmm.
that's why I didn't really buy into his version that
Yeah.
we were not able to produce the best scripts, etc., because their last work was there. But
Right.
again, I don't know when they had written it. So the movie
Yes.
was released in 87. I don't know when they had written it, when they
Right.
conceptualized it, etc. But yes, this is also what came to my mind. Like, guys, it's not like
Hmm.
your last 7 films bombed. Your last film was
A
is
massive hit,
is
and
something.
it's a cult
Yes.
hit. Yes, for sure. And there are so many. I felt that there were a lot of rumors and a lot of stories, and they wanted to make this to set the record straight, but it didn't.
Yes.
So makes me wonder if the rumors were all right and that there was actually a pretty bad split that they had, and they were not seeing eye to eye for a bit. And now I think in their, in the later part of their life, I think now they are a little more sober and want to remember the good times, and that's why they've come together. Is my feeling.
Yes. No, I think
Yeah,
it's the same here. I think I feel the same because they just want to say, okay, guys, what happened happened. So
happen. Yeah.
let's ensure we remember the good times. Right.
Awesome. So yeah, I think, but I'm glad that they're making these documentaries. Like we had Romantics, we had
Yes.
Modern Masters by
Yes.
Anupama Chopra on
Yes.
the Bahubali director Rajamouli.
Rajamouli.
So
Mm.
and now we have Angry Young Men. So I think, for folks like us who want to know just the background of the movies, not just what all goes on screen, but off screen as
And who
well.
do not want to read fat books.
Absolutely. Yes. Who reads those? Yeah. So we want to create our own facts, right? So, it's amazing that this is coming about, and there is an audience that's going on, that is there to appreciate and consume this.
Right.
All right. So let's be, the movie reviewers that we are, and give it a rating. So just to make it fun. So, what on a scale of 5, how many stars would you give it?
I'm more of the liberal kind, so I would go with 4 on 5, just for
Good.
a fact that they were able to come up with something and like they're able
Yeah.
to make a documentary like this. And for movie enthusiasts, like they started documenting. I think that's where I would want to give a thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
And just for the fact which I said why I love this documentary, I would go on with a 4 on 5. That one, I'm giving that one extra. It's 3 on 5. I'm giving one extra because of the effort, and
Mm-hmm.
one less because they didn't talk about the overall process what they went into. So this is why I would say 4 on 5.
Awesome. Yeah, I would give it something similar. 3.5 is what I would go with. 3.5 has always been my favorite rating,
Yes,
especially in
it's
Times
like
of India when we used to read the reviews.
on Rediff it used to be Raja Sen who used to like
Yeah.
literally bash if a movie is
Yes.
bad. Then on
Correct.
the other hand, it was Taran Adarsh for whom everything used to be 4 on 5,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And then
Yeah, he had given 4 on 5 on some Sunny Deol and Vivek Oberoi treasure hunt movie. If I
oh,
can't
that that was
remember.
that was that was Naksha, right?
Naksha, exactly. He had
Naksha.
given a 4 on 5, and I
Oh,
believed that, and I watched it, and I was like, even at that young age of whatever, 15, 16, I was like, why and what was happening in this movie?
I think the
So,
biggest gaffe was him giving 4 on 5 for Himesh Reshamiya's
oh
Kaz.
my God,
So
that
yeah, so
is.
for me, that's where I was like, okay, let's stop. This
Yes,
makes no sense.
I'll just look at your Bollywood box office numbers, but not
Yes.
your reviews. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'll go with a 3.5. It was much better than any ordinary effort. I think they gave it a lot of thought, and apparently they invested more than 2 years in making this. So credit to them on making it comprehensive and making sure that they touch upon a lot of aspects. As a film lover that I would have want to look at. But yeah, as I said, things like why they split up, or why did they have too many interviewees, and then not talking about their accomplishments later. And the critique was very mild. For these reasons, I think it was not there, but I'm more than happy with it for sure. All right. I think now let's come to some question and answers. So, first question, what is your earliest memory of Salim Javed?
I think earliest memory of Salim Javed was, uh, I think, getting to know that there were two legendary writers early and then going back and rewatching Sholay. I think
Mm-hmm,
that for me remains the earliest Salim Javed memory because
mm-hmm,
till then, like writers never were a big deal, right? Like we always end up, okay, is it a Shah Rukh Khan movie? Is it an Amir Khan movie? Is it a Sunny Deol movie? So for me, the first time I went back and rewatched the movie was Sholay. And this time I rewatched it more, and I think I was 13 or 14, I think, late high school. And that's when I rewatched and started seeing it not just as a movie, but seeing, okay, how they really brought the story about, how they brought the characters in, like even a character like our favorite AK Hangal. right? How they were editing his characters, gave him a memorable scene. So I went back. So that remains the earliest memory of Salim Javed for me. And
Hmm.
then after that comes in when I used to read a lot of Outlook magazine at that point of time, and Outlook came had come up with this. I think in early in 2006 or 2007, it had come up with 100 years of cinema or like some 70 years of cinema, and that said which are the best movies ever made in Indian cinema. And out of the top 10, Sholay was on 2, and Diwar was on 4, and I think there was one more Salim Javed movie on 9. So for me, then I was like, oh wow, like 3. Let's go back and rewatch these again. Like I watched Sholay, but let's rewatch Diwar. Let's. I think the other one was it
Maybe
Trishul or
Zanjeer, I feel, or
Zanjeer?
maybe
I
something.
think something. But then I went and rewatched.
Hmm.
So for me, that remains that
Yeah.
okay, knowing about them and rewatching the movie, not because I'm watching a movie, but I'm watching to see the mastery of Salim Javed in terms
Hmm.
of their dialogues, characterizations,
Yeah.
connecting connecting the entire scenes together. So I think that remains for me. And even now, when I watch some of their movies which are just playing and on the TV or the scenes of those, I don't really watch a movie, but really say, "Wow, how would they have come up with such a dialogue?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
for me, that remains the earliest memory. What about
Absolutely.
yours?
As I said, my dad bringing in the cassettes, the video cassettes, and playing it on VCR and telling me nonstop about how legendary this duo was, how after my dad got married and he took my mom to Bombay, and there was apparently an open air screening of Dawn, and my dad was so excited about it that he took my mom and started watching it while my mom was just not interested in it, and my dad didn't care a damn about it, and he was like so excited. So that excitement somewhere rubbed on me, and in general, not just about Salim Javed, but in general about movies.
Movies.
So watching the Zanjeers and the Sholays and the Diwars of the world, so of Salim Javed's world. So that was amazing. Next question. So, what are your top three favorite Salim Javed movies and why?
Right. I think top three movies. One, I would put Shakti,
Uh-huh.
my personal favorite.
Wow,
I
nice.
can purely because of the two legends coming together, and when they're on screen, you don't know whom to look at, right? And they
Yeah.
have equally explosive dialogues through the movie.
Hmm.
And even the way the story of Shakti was written, right? And it's just not like Amrish Puri, like if you look at the overall scene of the movie, which kind of even now makes me realize, wow, how could they come up with this? Was the scene where the child Amitabh Bachchan is kidnapped and there's a call made for ransom to Dilip Kumar, and Dilip Kumar responds saying that if you want to kill him. I won't like really bog down to your demands.
Hmm.
And the point is, this conversation of Dilip Kumar is recorded and it is replayed to Amrish Puri, who is the
Hmm.
villain, who is back.
Hmm.
And unknowing, like not really knowing that the son is around, they play the audio to make Amrish Puri listen, and he listens it. And
Hmm.
that's where the story, the rebel in him grows, that my father doesn't love me. And that
Right.
is a seed which is sown, which he carries with him through the movie. So for me, this was a story, right? It wasn't that Amrish Puri was bad and he wanted to channel in negative energy against his son. It's just a story, guys. He was
Right.
kidnapped. The chief wasn't there, so call was played, and suddenly that really changed lives for everyone. Like one recording that was done for to relay a communication really changed the lives of three people in that movie, right? So for me, that remains my favorite, and the way Bachchan's character was written, even the scene where he's a small guy walking to the school and he kicks a tin, and by the time he kicks the second time, he's become Amitabh Bachchan. So
Hmm.
that's how he kicked time. So for me,
Oh yeah,
these
that
visualizations
yeah, their
have always
transitions were amazing. All Yadav Ki
amazing.
Barat or even Zanjeer, Diwar,
Yes,
all of those transitions
superb.
from young characters to older characters were just amazing for sure.
Yes. For me, second was Mr. India.
Hmm.
I think it's for me the movie that even now I go back and watch it for its repeat value,
Nice.
because again, even over there, coming up with a character like Mogambo, imagine writing on script a character who is so silly, right? Like he has his own island and etc. But people looks like people at that point wanted it. They're like,
Yeah,
okay, because we've seen Desh Ke Dushman in different sections. Here's was someone who was very eccentric. He thinks he's the best, and getting a villain like him, and then suddenly transitioning a no one like uh, uh, Anil Kapoor into Mr. India through a superhuman path. That was wow. So for me, and with the whole children vibe around it, with
yeah,
Satish Kaushik bringing in the fun factor. So for me, that's why Mr. India remains that movie which I'll make like at someday I'll make Ada and Suyash watch that movie to say, guys,
absolutely.
this
Yes,
is a fun movie. Watch it. This is how
yes,
kids stay. This is what
yeah.
it is. So that's why Mr. India remains one of my second favorite, and third Sholay. I think I for me, I cannot get ahead of loving the movie more every time I see it.
Yeah.
And every time I see it, I get to know new trivia about it. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, the latest trivia that I learned is that there are two Haris in Sholay.
Hmm.
Okay. One Hari is Hari Singh, who's Gabbar Singh's dad.
Right.
And the second is Hari Ram, who's the Hari Ram Nai. So
Hmm.
for me, I've gone so
Interesting.
deep into Sholay. Every time I watch it, the new trivia that comes around. So these are my top three movies. Trishul comes close fourth,
Okay.
but yes, I'd stick to three. What about yours?
I think for me, the my favorite is Dawn by far. Like the number of
Yes.
times I've seen Dawn on TV is just crazy. I think it is a close second to Suryavansham, unfortunately.
In terms of the rewatches.
Because we were fed that, it was playing almost every day. Jokes apart, but I think the most I have watched on TV is Amar Akbar Anthony, actually, which was
Yes.
such a Salim Javed movie, actually, but not Salim Javed. But
Yes.
that was my the most watched when I was growing up from the earlier age, like 70s and 80s. But yeah, Dawn will come as number one for me, and just for the package that it was, it was fun, it was intense. There was so much style,
Yes.
and the action sequences were not bad for that time. The story was gripping and although
Story.
unbelievable, but it
But
was still amazing on screen. And the characters were great. Amitabh Bachchan absolutely killed it. So
nailed it.
yeah,
Yes.
so and then the entire sequence at the end, the climax, the songs, it was just a complete
Yeah.
package. So for me, Dawn comes right on top. And I think I agree with you with the second one, which is Mr. India. The rewatch value of Mr. India is just immense.
Whoa.
You can watch it any number of times, just like Dawn, and there are so many fun moments and then so many inspiring moments. The villains that you talk about. So I think
Yes.
those were amazing. And I think for number three is Sholay. The only part is it's pretty long to watch it again and
Yes.
again.
Yes.
And but as you said, now we don't have to watch it for the plot. We watch for the other details.
Right.
And I just feel technically the sound and the way it has been shot, the camera angles, the
Yes.
clarity in the thought process behind shooting each scene, and the
Yes.
character arc of each character, and just the number of characters that are legendary, like the Surma Bhopali, who has got like 2 minutes of role,
Screen time.
is
Yeah.
yeah, and that's what they talk about. I think in another interview of Javed Akhtar, he mentioned that in the history of cinema, you would remember maybe two, three characters from each movie, but here there are about 20, and
And you
all of
remember
them
all
are
of them.
legendary, and there are so many spin-offs, right?
You
So,
you remember Surma Bhupali, you remember हम अंग्रेज के जमाने के जेलर
Jailer,
हैं,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Asrani is over there. So
yes,
and touching upon Sholay, right? If you look in Sholay, there is no blood as such.
mm,
Like for
yeah,
example, when Thakur's family is killed, they're just still shots. So
yes,
that's again a mastery in the way it's shot and made.
right,
And the way they saw Sachin getting killed.
right,
There is an ant coming around and on his hand, on Gabbar's hand, and Gabbar just taps the hand, and
right,
Sachin is dead.
right,
So they don't really show gruesome, but suddenly there's a fear as how he would have been killed. Like
exactly,
if he's going to hit the hand like this, that means he's been killed so brutally without really showing. So that
true.
for me is mastery of Sholay.
Yeah, and even when they chop off Thakur's hands, they have not shown that.
Yes,
The
yes,
scene where the child is killed when the
yes,
family is shot, they don't show that, but you know that it
yes,
happened. So I think in some of the interviews I also read or saw that it was intentional. There was a lot of violence, but none of it was shown. So,
I think it's got to do with because it was released at a time of emergency where they had to not really show violence. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
yeah, awesome. And favorite Salim Javed character for you?
I think it has to be Vijay overall in all their movies. The character of Vijay. I think
Of
because
course.
they showed different reasons why Vijay was angry in every movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In Diwar, he's angry with the system, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Shakti, he's angry with his father,
Mm-hmm.
right? In Kala Patthar, Vijay is angry with his fate that
Mm-hmm.
he's a merchant navy, he couldn't save people. So I think the way they channeled an anger, it was very socially relevant as well at that point of time. And in the
Mm-hmm.
documentary as well, they touch upon it saying we did not only intentionally make it socially relevant, but we lived in those times and we wanted to tell story of those times. So they just became
Yes,
socially relevant. So for me,
exactly.
the whole showing of the character itself of Vijay, Angry Young Man. If you're asking me one movie character of Vijay, it has to be Diwar because for
Yeah.
me the way Amitabh Bachchan carried that, I think I've read it a lot of times that they say that he carried a light in his eye throughout the movie. His eyes are always glowing, and I
Mm-hmm.
think the way he rendered his dialogues, though it did not have many shades. It had like it was pretty monotonous to say, okay, he's an angry young man, is there, but the way they wrote that character from the time his polishing shoes to him coming back to the temple and asking for questions. I think for me, the character of Vijay, which they wrote,
Mm-hmm.
being angry, I think for me, that really, I take that back to say, guys, wow, like you've really shown multiple ways how a character could be written and
Right.
shown on screen. It's the same character, but is angry for different reasons and is rebelling for different reasons. So for me, the character Vijay. What about you?
I think more specifically, as I said, again, going back to Don, the second Don, who is like pan eating,
Who's
yeah,
Vijay?
who's Vijay again, of course. But again, this is from nostalgia, really, purely nostalgia, that how funny Amitabh Bachchan was in that before the
Yes.
transition, how he nailed the Banarasi accent, I think, the Hindi.
Yes.
That
ये बैठा
was
हो
just,
बैठा. I mean,
that
yeah,
was incredible, and how he was so natural with it. And then the transition to this wow Don, who is like so funky and who's so stylish. I always was, whenever I watched it, I was waiting for that, the transition, and
the
how
transition.
and then how he starts eating pan, and the DSP Sahib comes and says that, oh, Don pan nahi khata, and all of them, and the reaction that Amitabh Bachchan has, like, Don pan
देखा था.
nahi khata, like,
देखा था.
it was
Yeah.
just legendary. I would like silently clap, I think, in my head. How did you nail that? So, but yeah, that was it. It came very natural to Amitabh Bachchan. So that's my favorite character. But as you said, his character in Diwar is like a dream character. It
Yeah.
was any actor would kill, and to get a role like that. And Amitabh Bachchan has done complete justice to it.
Yeah. I think
Awesome.
also a character which I can say carried such a aura is was Amitabh Bachchan's character in Trishul,
Hmm.
right? Because even there, he's against his fighting with his father, and and even in that, right, the arc that they show of him, wherein he's not bad, he's just grey, right? Like
Hmm.
Vijay in all their films was grey
Hmm.
because and that's what I loved the beauty of the way they were writing things. They were
Yeah.
not like trying to portray him that okay, he's bechara or he's
Yeah.
completely wrong and he's
It's
just there, guys.
unapologetic. Yeah,
Yes, he's just there. He's just doing it because that's his motive. He's bringing down people in business because that's his motive. He wants to bring him down.
that's true. Awesome. Finally, this is the most exciting part for you, I feel. And any fun trivia, like a couple of them, which you want to
Can
share?
I can I call about trivia which they have not shown in the documentary? And I
Absolutely,
wanted to
yeah.
tell which that why didn't they show it? And that's why I think I thought Yash was brought in for that reason, but somehow they didn't touch upon it.
Okay.
Do you know that Salim Javed have written two Kannada movies for Rajkumar?
Wow, really? Oh, I
So
didn't know that.
Salim Javed have written a movie called Raja Nanna Raja, which
Hmm.
had I think Aarti and Rajkumar. So which
Uh-huh.
was a reincarnation movie,
Hmm.
right? And the second movie which they have written is Premada Kanike, which
Hmm.
is again a Rajkumar movie, which is a suspense movie. So
Interesting.
they forayed into Kannada, and these are the two Kannada movies written by Salim Javed, and both the movies were blockbusters.
Wow,
So this,
amazing.
I they didn't. I was killing the moment they brought on Yash. I thought they would give him like one segment where he say that
Yeah,
my view was this, because I remember watching our idol Dr. Rajkumar play, like, because he was our Karnataka's Amitabh Bachchan. He was like the superstar. So this is
right.
where we got a glimpse and we went more into Salim Javed's movies. But this is the trivia. Like they've written two Kannada movies, both of them like blockbuster movies, amazing music, and I think they've been remade into several languages.
Hmm.
Uh, but yes, for me, this was the trivia which I love sharing about Salinja, that they have written Kannada movies, and being from Karnataka, I'm proud to say that they've written two Kannada
Absolutely.
movies
Yes,
for our Dr. Rajkumar.
absolutely. And you're going to be in trouble for calling Dr. Rajkumar the Amitabh Bachchan of Kannada industry.
Oh,
So
is that?
beware. Yeah, no, I mean,
Oh.
he's a legend in himself. He doesn't
He's the
need a
legend in
comparison,
himself.
right?
Yes.
That's what I meant.
Right.
For me, my favorite trivia, and I think this is something that my dad had shared, was the fact that Diwar and Sholay released on the same day, 15th of August, 1975, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
Uh, there were actually two trivias to it. One is that there was a sequence in or a period of time when they were shooting both the films parallelly, and Amitabh Bachchan was in both the movies, and they had got time to shoot the climax in, I think, Ballard Estate in Mumbai,
Hmm.
and that was
Hmm.
the entire night sequence. While Sholay is a day movie, everything happens during the day,
Yes.
and Sholay happened in Ramgarh, which was near
This is Ramnagar.
Ramnagara, which is near Bangalore, while the Ballad Estates climate sequence was happening in Mumbai. So for about 15 days, I think the number of days is contested. Some say 10, some say 15, some say a month. So Amitabh Bachchan used to shoot at night for these
Oh,
sequences in Bombay, take the first flight to Bangalore,
Bangalore.
go there, shoot the entire day, drive back to Bangalore airport, take the flight, go back to Mumbai, shoot all the sequences at night, and go back to Bangalore. So he did that for whatever,
Wow.
15, 20 days. And
Wow.
both turned out to be such legendary movies and blockbusters. So I think that
Wow.
was very
Okay.
fascinating for me, and
Yeah, I
I
mean,
I love
imagine
that
giving
trivia.
shooting two greatest Indian movies
Yeah.
ever at the same period, and
Yes.
the
Yeah.
same actor
And
shuttling down,
yes,
and
and
just
giving
being different.
yeah, and yeah, very distinct. The role in Sholay, he was the nicer one. He was like he had a
Yes,
soft corner, and
yes,
he had that emotional quotient to connect with
yes,
someone who had seen a lot in their lives. Jaya Bachchan's character, while in Diwar, he's like this brooding, angry person who had so many complaints about everything around him.
yeah,
So I think and he did great justice to both of them. So amazing work
yes,
to
yes.
him.
Yeah,
So
no,
that
no,
is my fun
thanks for
fact.
sharing. I think this, wow,
Yeah,
right. No, no, no. Now coming to think of it, yeah, night movie, day movie, I think makes so like, and
yeah,
imagine those days you may not even have indigos and spice. You did not have indigos and spice jets, so you are working with Air India, like the only flight, maybe one
yeah,
or two flights flying from
exactly.
Bangalore, Mumbai to Bangalore, and
Yes.
wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow.
All right, that's
No,
all I had. Anything else that we should touch upon?
no, I think we've touched upon most of the things. I think no, uh, just that the way it transitioned out, right? I think that's the part which I think we could talk a bit, because all their movies, if you're looking at it like specifically, I can come back to Shakti, where, and they've also said it in one of the interviews, they saw the industry transitioning out of like post Amitabh Bachchan era, and they were primarily known for Amitabh Bachchan era. So they also, Salim Javed also say that, oh, we worked during, or rather, we made Amitabh Bachchan, and that was his era. Till we worked, that was his era. And one of the reasons that they cast uh, Anil Kapoor as a younger Amitabh Bachchan is they thought that he would be the next superstar in
Yep.
Shakti. So I think, and they talk about it like we were always looking to see who would be the next person,
Successor.
how
Yeah.
would it be the transition, who could be
Mm-hmm.
our next person for whom we can write roles for.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think this is one part which I really think. they were forward looking. I think that
Yes.
part is which really I
Yeah.
liked about Salim Javed. They always looked forward in their movies.
Yeah, and to some extent, Anil Kapoor lived up to that expectation, right? He
Yes.
had, of course, Jabaz, which came in during that
Yes.
time, which was his stylish part of,
Yes.
the angry young man that came out in it.
Yes.
Then he had that movie where he was the lawyer. Which one was that?
Mary Jung.
Mary
Mary Jung.
Jung. Mary Jung was a pure angry young man character that
Yes.
I don't think it
Yes.
was written by Salim Javed, but
But it was
was
a very
it
Salim
was
Javed kind of a story, right?
yes,
His
exactly,
father, Girish
exactly.
Karnad, is hanged and he comes back to take revenge as a
Exactly.
lawyer, etc.
Right. And then there is the mom angle. So, and Anil Kapoor has done an amazing job at that. So, I think he did quite a few movies and then slowly transitioned into romantic movies, starting with Parinda and 1942, A Love Story,
Love
Beta, and
story,
stuff like that.
yes. Yes.
But for a while, I think he did, he did try to take over the mantle from Amitabh
Amitabh
Bachchan.
Bachchan. Yes. Yes. Okay.
All right,
Okay.
awesome. Yeah, I think
Nice.
this was fun. I think we spoke about speaking for about 20-30 minutes and we've
How
gone
much?
more
How
than an
much time
hour.
have we spoken for? We've spoken for an hour.
This
Okay.
yeah, this is 37 minutes and I think we had about 15 minutes on the other one.
Shows
So,
me 54 on my panel, so it's
all right.
54 plus the
For
7 before. So yes,
this
a lot
has
of
been so
edits
much
needed.
fun. Yes, a lot of edits needed, but this was so much fun. That's
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
and I hope we do this on a regular basis and
Yes, I
we'll
think
keep talking about
absolutely. I'm watching a gripping series right now. I hope it lives up to its expectations.
is
That's
it IC
IC 814.
814?
IC
Yes,
814.
I
Yes,
I watched 3 episodes of it, so and I can't
it's an
wait
acting
to
school.
finish it.
Okay, let's not disrupt this podcast, but it's an acting school. It's not a series.
Yes, yeah. Just everyone is in their own rooms, but they just provide acting tips and acting classes from those rooms. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I think we should do the next one on IC
IC
814. So,
814.
yes,
Yes.
so let's do that. All right.
Okay.
Okay. This was great talking to you. Any parting comments or thoughts?
No, I think we hopefully people say that don't say that, okay, guys, enough of talking about movies, talk about something else. I think looking forward to getting some first feedback, at least from our closer folks, to say, guys, okay,
Exactly.
this is what you could do. But apart from that, it's wonderful to talk about on a not so bright Saturday, complaining about again about London weather, but
Yeah.
talking about Bollywood and in
Yeah.
specific to our favorite writers.
Yeah, and it had to be this way because we have some London weather here in New York as well. So
Okay.
it is very gloomy. I have like two lights to just give some, to show my face. So, but yeah, I agree. It's been amazing talking to you. We've always been talking since what, like 25 years now it has been
Yeah, I
that
think
we've
yeah,
been
from those
talking
bus
about
rides to
movies.
school
Yeah,
to doing this podcast, it's been a long while, and
exactly. Yeah.
hopefully we do this more often to get the to ensure that we are not regretting choosing our second love as our careers and not our first love. So
Exactly. So I'm glad that we are doing this and hopefully we continue the series. All right.
okay,
All right.
yeah,
Talk to you later, Ashwath.
yeah,
Bye bye.
bye.